Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Watchlist by Magenta Trade. Today is Friday, the 22nd of July, and we are back with our regular YouTube live program, the Watchlist. My apologies, we could not do yesterday's session at Magenta Trade. We teach you how to grow your portfolio using option trading strategies. We explain in simple terms how you can participate in the world leading companies with a fraction of the amount that you need as normal investment. In the vast ocean of stock market, there are plenty of opportunities to gain from the movement of share prices every day. However, market is unpredictable, volatile, and sometimes complex to understand. In order to be successful, you need a disciplined, rule-based approach developed over a long period of experience in the market and focused on building a long-term portfolio to protect your hard-earned money. With that introduction, let's get started. I'm Shan joining you live. My apologies. We could not do yesterday's session, but we'll try to make it up today. All our discussions at Magenta Trade are solely for educational and information purposes. We are not investment advisors, and you should consult a financial advisor before making any investments. Options trading involve exceptional gains, but at the same time, they pose inherent risk. Past results are no guarantee of future gains. For more disclosures, you can visit our website www.magentatrade.com. Quickly, a couple of words about me. I'm Shan, joining you live here. I have more than 15 years of experience in trading. I've turned my personal trading experience and passion into professional coaching, and recently we have formed the company Magenta Trade to share with you my strategies of success in trading using simple terms and techniques. My favorite areas of coaching are trade management and money management. I've experienced immense potential of trading options based on stocks and ETFs, and I help you understand how they might help you build a steady and reliable retirement income stream. As a coach, I focus on daily routine, follow simple rule-based strategy, use simple tools to enter and exit the trades, and manage your positions in 15-20 minutes every day. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at what's happening in the market. Then I'll come to the earnings. S&P 500 SPX is currently down by 1.5%, down 60 points, almost 59 points, really. Okay, now if you look at the chart, that's what I had thought of. I don't want to say I told you so, but that's like what's happening here. On Wednesday, when we finished the session, at that point of time, it was almost touching the outer or the higher upper Bollinger Band. And there was a possibility, strong possibility that, not strong, well, there was a possibility for the momentum to continue and the S&P 500 index to break out towards the bullish side, towards the upper side, to go up from there, because the band here is widening now. The band is widening after being narrow here. It is now widening. Now, in these cases, usually whatever direction the market takes or whatever direction the index takes, that continues for a very strong momentum and a clear directional movement. Now, in this case, what has happened is yesterday it went up. However, today it is going down. And now, because it is going to expand in terms of the band, it is now possible, or the likelihood of going for the retreat or the downside of the index is much, much higher than going in the positive side or in the bullish side. So the bearish movement is of higher probability. Of course, it all depends on multiple factors. It's not just one technical indicator. There are multiple factors, like the fundamentally how is the macroeconomic situation. We know the things have not changed at all much, like the war in Russia and Ukraine, and the supply chain issue in China. The COVID scenario is grim. It has turned a little bit on the negative side in the last couple of weeks across the world. And of course, the inflation is still high. There's a strong possibility that Fed Reserve would increase the interest rate in the next week. The European Central Bank has already increased the interest rate by 50 basis points. So all these macroeconomic factors remain unchanged or towards the bearish side. The economy is still predicted to be going into recession, and of course that will have an impact on the market. So there are all signs, all bearish signs of the market are still visible and still at the same level. So the possibility of going bearish from here is much higher. The only thing that can move the market to the bullish side is a very good result by Apple and Amazon and other companies. Well, that may not happen. That may not happen. There is a strong possibility that Apple would just do good. Just their iPhone 13 sales are still strong. That's what I last read. Other than that, it's just they would be if they are able to survive, like if they are able to maintain the level of pre-COVID, that would be the biggest achievement, I would say. Similarly, Amazon, there would be a little bit growth, but that would not be very high, or you can say very higher than normal. So considering all that, there is the possibility of the market going bearish from here, or you can say more bearish, stronger downside is much higher than in the bullish side. As a result, maybe we can consider taking a bearish position at this level. The market is, I would say, reversing. Of course, it had crossed the trend line, but however, it did not cross very far above the 61.8% Fibonacci. See, my drawing of the Fibonacci may not be perfect. Well, it is good enough for my understanding, or as far as I could do. But no indicator is perfect. Its market does not operate exactly within the parameters. So our limit here was 61.8% limit was 3971. Today it went higher up to 4012, but that does not mean that it has completely breached the 61.8% level and it had closed. No, it did not close. Yesterday's close was actually 3998. So yes, it did close above the 61.8% level, but that does not mean that it cannot reverse from there. So that could be our resistance, that it has touched that resistance 4012. When it went to 4012, it touched the resistance, and then now it is retreating from that resistance. So that has got a much higher clarity, or you can say possibility, than going in the bullish side. So I don't want to be very negative on the Friday, but that's what I look here. So probably I will actually take a bearish position from here. Now, considering that, let's start looking at the earnings reports. Yesterday, of course, I could not do the session, so I will consider some of the. I will look into some of the earnings report of yesterday as well. Give me 1 minute. I'll just open up the screen, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's start from yesterday. Maybe we'll yesterday. Okay, so yesterday, or maybe we'll start from today. Sorry, my apologies. That would be better. We'll go through all the. Okay, we'll start with Verizon. Verizon Communications, they reported their earnings today early morning. Second quarter June 2022 earnings of $1.31 per share on a revenue of $33.8 billion, whereas the expectation was $1.34 on revenue of $33.8 billion. So it is more or less within the expectation, but the stock is currently down by 8%. Revenue grew only 0.1% on year-on-year basis. A company said it expects 2022 earnings of $5.10 to $5.25 per share, whereas the previous guidance was on the of $5.40 to $5.55 per share. So it is a lower than even the lower end of guidance. So let's look at some of the reports. Consolidated earnings of $1.40 in the second quarter 2021. Adjusted earnings per share, excluding special items, is $1.31 compared with $1.39 in the second quarter of 2021. Total revenue of $33.8 billion, relatively flat from second quarter 2021. Net income of $5.3 billion, a decrease of 10.7% from second quarter of 2021, and adjusted EBITDA of $11.9 billion, down 22.6% year on year. So overall, not a very good result. And of course, the market is punishing the stock because of that. The stock is currently down by almost 9%. Total broadband net additions of 268,000, including 256,000 fixed wireless net additions. Total broadband net additions increased 39,000 from first quarter of 2022, and fixed wireless net additions increased 62,000 from first quarter 2021. Total wireless service revenue of $18.4 billion, a 9.1% increase year on year. A total retail postpaid churn of 1.03%, and retail postpaid phone churn of 0.81%. Postpaid and phone net addition of 12,000. Verizon Chairman and CEO Hans Westberg said, as the market leader in a very competitive industry, we are determined to improve our operational and financial performance for the second half of the year with our network as a service foundation, our new customer mobility plans, and recent pricing actions. We are being deliberate in our decisions to improve our profitable growth opportunities today and into the future. The next one is Amex. American Express reported second quarter June 2022 earnings of $2.57 per share on revenue of $13.4 billion. The presentations that we are looking here, we have already shared using our social media channels. So if you are not following us in Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, please do so. We keep on updating you over there. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you are watching this video now. Okay, the expectation was $2.37 per share on revenue of $12.4 billion. So Amex did well beyond the expectations, and the stock is currently up by 2% even in this negative market. Revenue grew 30.8% on year-on-year basis. So I think the financials companies are doing much better than expected. Now it is up to the tech companies how they do. Yesterday, the Snapchat also announced their results, and their results were really horrible. The entire market is probably reflecting that. Nasdaq and S&P 500. We'll come to the Snapchat result, but first let's progress with American Express. The company said it continues to expect 2022 earnings of $9.25 to $9.65 per share, but now expects the revenue of $53.71 billion to $54.58 billion. The previous guidance was, so this current expectation is higher than the previous guidance of $50 billion to $50.9 billion. So it's a much improved performance by Amex. Record card member spending driven by robust travel and entertainment rebound. Second quarter revenue increased 31%. Excellent credit performance reflects a strength of a premium customer base. Second quarter earnings per share was $2.57. Total network volumes increased from 316.1 billion in second quarter of 2021 to $394.8 billion, an increase of 25%. Total revenue net of interest expense increased by 31% from $10.243 billion to $13.395 billion. Total provision for credit losses, $410 billion. $410 million. My apologies. Okay, let's have a quick look at the other details. Stephen J. Squarey, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, mentioned we had an outstanding second quarter with record levels of revenue and card member spending, reflecting the strength of our global customer base and continued momentum across our business. Card member spending was up 30% from a year earlier on an FX adjusted basis, driven by the robust rebound in global travel and entertainment spending. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Next one is yesterday we announced American Airlines, AAL. American Airlines reported their second quarter June 2022 earnings of 76 cents per share on revenue of $13.4 billion. This was announced yesterday. We could not do the session yesterday, so we are now saying, discussing that. Whereas the expectation was 79 cents per share on revenue of $13.3 billion. Revenue grew 79.5% on a year-on-year basis. The company said it expects third quarter revenue of $13.1 billion to $13.34 billion, whereas the previous expectation was $13.32 billion. Record second quarter revenue of $13.4 billion, representing 12.2% increase over the same period in 2019, and despite flying 8.5% less capacity, and ended the second quarter with 15.6 billion of total available liquidity. Company continues to execute on its plan to pay down approximately $15 billion of total debt by end of 2025. So that's a very positive direction. We are very pleased to report a quarterly profit, excluding net special items, for the first time since the start of the pandemic, driven by a strong demand environment and hard work of our team, said the Chief Executive Officer, Robert Eisen. So that's American Airlines. Now let's look at AT&T. AT&T also announced their second quarter earnings yesterday. 65 cents per share on a revenue of $29.6 billion. Estimate was 60 cents per share on revenue of $29.5 billion. Revenue fell 32.7% compared to the same quarter a year ago. The stock is today down by 3%. Company posts more than 800,000 postpaid phone net additions for a best second quarter in over a decade. More than 300,000 AT&T fiber net adds, customer additions, including the best second quarter postpaid phone net additions in more than a decade, and more than 6.1 million postpaid phone net additions over the last 2 years. Where the company said we have already achieved our end of year target of covering 70 million people with mid-band 5G spectrum, and are on track to approach 100 million people with mid-band 5G spectrum by the end of the year. Revenues from continuing operation of $29.6 billion, diluted earning per share from continuing operations 59 cents, cash from operations from continuing operations of $7.7 billion, capital expenditure from continuing operations of $4.9 billion, capital investment from continuing operations of $6.7 billion, free cash flow from continuing operations of $1.4 billion. The next one is a biggie we want to discuss is Tesla. Of course, Tesla did fantastic yesterday, and the stock went really high. I think 10% almost yesterday it rose. But today it is more or less flat. Tesla reported second quarter June 2022 earnings of $1.95 per share on revenue of $16.9 billion, whereas the expectation was $1.69 per share on revenue of $18.3 billion. Revenue grew 41.6% year on year basis. Let's have a quick look at the summary. So you can see is still is a strong directional move here on the operational summary too. Supercharger stations have been increasing and supercharger connectors have been increasing, rapidly increasing. Earnings of $1.95 per share. Operating cash flow less capex, free cash flow of $621 million in second quarter, $2.5 billion gap operating income, 14.6 operating margin in second quarter, $2.3 billion gap net income. More than 1,000 vehicles produced in a single week at a Gigafactory Berlin, highest solar deployment in over 4 years. So the current or the recent production, both in the US and the Berlin factory are doing really good. Also, the production in China recovered since there was a little bit disruption for almost 3 weeks over there. Okay, so let's go back to some other news and results maybe, and we'll go to the Snapchat result. So let's quickly have a look at the Snapchat. Snapchat, as you can see, is down by 39%. So yesterday after the market hours, they announced their second quarter result with a loss of 2 cents per share on a revenue of $1.1 billion. Revenue grew only 13.1% year on year basis. However, daily active users increased 18% from year on year to $347 million. Revenue increased 13% year on year to $1.1 billion. But the company said, while the continued growth of our community increases the long-term opportunity for our business, our financial results for second quarter do not reflect our ambition. The chief executive officer, Ivan Spiegel, said that we are evolving our business and strategy to re-accelerate revenue growth, including innovating on our products, investing heavily in our direct response advertising business, and cultivating new sources of revenue to help diversify our top line growth. They basically said the top companies or their advertisers are reducing their budget spend, and as a result, due to the various macroeconomic factors, and that had a clear impact on their results. There was strong operating loss and net loss as well. So it was a very grim result from Snapchat, and that impacted all the other social social networking stocks as well. Okay, let's look at some other results or some other news. as a result of the snap. The other stocks like Facebook. Okay, they changed their symbol to Meta now. Okay, that's interesting. So it is currently down by more than 7.5%. Their earnings is due on 27th of July. So Meta is down currently by 7.5%. They have changed their symbol. Earlier it was Facebook or FB. Now Alphabet, that is Google. I still call it Google. You know, I struggle to say it Alphabet. Alphabet is down by 5.78%. Their result is expected also on 26th of July. And Pinterest, right? Pinterest is down by 13.75%. Wow. Let's look into Twitter. Twitter is up by 1.2%. So Twitter has recovered a lot since Elon Musk, said that he would not be acquiring the stock, and so it has got a clear direction now, and they are on their, track to get maybe $1 billion worth of compensation from Mr. Musk. Their result is expected 22nd of July. So let's see what happens to their. They have already announced. Let me quickly check. Okay, they actually they have actually reported the earnings. My bad. I was thinking maybe it was Monday, but no, it's today, or today after hours. Today morning they actually announced the results. They announced a loss of 37 cents per share on revenue of $1.2 billion, whereas the expectation was a loss of only 6 cents per share on revenue of $1.3 billion. Revenue fell 1.2% compared to the same quarter a year ago. Actually, the market was expecting much, worse result probably, but because of there's a clear direction now, the stock is up. Otherwise, the results are not great. Q2 average monetizable daily active usage was 237.8 million, up 16.6% compared to the second quarter prior year. Increase was driven by ongoing product improvements and global conversation around current events. Okay, so Twitter is up today. Let's have a look at what else is. What else? Where is Metal? Another company, Metal. Metal is down by 6.16%. And they also announced their results today. Actually, yesterday. After market hours, they announced their second quarter June 2022 earnings of 18 cents per share on revenue of $1.2 billion, whereas the expectation was 5 cents per share on revenue of $1.1 billion. Revenue grew 20.4% year-on-year basis. The company said it's expecting 2022 earnings of $1.42 per share to $1.48 per share on revenue of $5.8 billion to $6 billion. Okay, the stock is currently down by 6%. They reported gross margin of 44%, a decrease of 310 basis points. Adjusted gross margin of 44.9%, a decrease of 260 basis points. Net income of $66 million. Okay. Let's move on to some other stocks or news. Another company is Seagate. SDX, yes. Seagate also announced their results yesterday. The stock is currently down by more than 8%. As you can see, they reported fourth quarter June 2022 earnings of $1.59 per share on revenue of $2.6 billion, whereas the expectation was $1.90 per share. And on a revenue of $2.8 billion. Revenue fell 12.8% compared to the same quarter a year ago. The company said 2023 first quarter earnings of $1.20 per share to $1.60 per share on revenue of $2.35 billion to $2.65 billion. Seagate is a hardware company, so it has got a different aspect of it, but the results are not really great. A revenue of 2.63 billion, gross margin of 28.9%, and overall the year was is good, but the fourth quarter results are not really good, and overall the outlook is also not good for the next quarter. So that's what has happened. Revenue actually fell in the fourth quarter from $3.01 billion to $2.6 billion. Net income fell from $482 million to $276 million. And earnings per share, diluted earnings per share reduced from $2.07 per share to $1.27. Okay. Now, let's look at something else as well. Okay, so more or less the earnings of these companies are not that great. So let's see in today's market. As we earlier said, S&P 500 is down by 1.24% now, down by 49 points. Nasdaq is down by 273 points, and Dow is down by 230 points. So all the indices are down. Dollar index down up by 0.1%. VIX volatility index up by 1.5%. Gold is up by 0.27%. Silver is down by 1.5%. Oil is down by 1.7%. Bitcoin is down by 0.4%, and Ethereum is flat. In terms of our stocks in the watch list, most of them are in the red today. Advanced Auto Parts is up by 0.7%. And Apple is down by almost a percentage. Accenture is down by 0.19%. And AMD is down by 3.7%. Amazon is down by 2%. Activision is down by 0.6%. Best Buy down by 1.9%. Berkshire down by 0.8%. Okay, let's quickly try to. So most of the stocks are down. So it's more or less similar. Let me quickly see if I can start the paper trading platform, and maybe we can see what is the opportunity there in terms of the S&P 500. Okay, so we have entered a few positions today. Um, just trying out a few strategies, especially in the financial sector. The company has been doing good. JP Morgan and Amex, we have undergone, we have about 100 shares, and then did a risk reversal as well. So I'll come to that. We are explaining that strategy in our next option trading masterclass course, how we are approaching that. If you would like to join more, no, join to know, if you would like to know more, please join our option trading masterclass program starting from the next month. We'll shortly publish that course, the date when we are starting in our website. Other than that, of course, the other stocks are not doing that great, but we did a lot of trades over the last couple of days in terms of our managing the positions. So with that, let me quickly go into the S&P 500 trade. What is possible there? I want to quickly S&P 500 is down by 51.9% now. So we have to look into the Friday in the fourth quarter, right? So Friday in the fourth quarter would be actually no, it is not. It is the previous quarter, right? So August 12th. August 12th is the fourth week, fourth week Friday. Okay. Now we can do the following week as well, but it is better to do the fourth week. Okay, now if we do here, let's say 4,100 levels based on the chart. So if we look at here 4,100 level for the bearish movement, 4,100 is 20 delta. So that fits in our criteria. 4,100 we sell and 4,120 we buy, and we are able to get probably $4 in this trade. So that is a possible trade. We can take it from here. As you saw in the chart, there is a strong possibility that from here onwards the market reverse. Let's see. But that is looks a possibility. So if you would like to take a trade, maybe you can consider this. If you agree with that, the market is bearish, we can take this trade. With that, let's come to the end of today's session. The market is negative at the end of today, but it was a very positive week overall. So overall, the week would be in the positive, and it was a very strong movement both in Nasdaq and S&P 500. But today it is negative, and the next week is possibly negative. With that, have a lovely weekend, and see you back on Monday. Thanks a lot for joining us, and please do follow us on the social media channels. Bye-bye. Thank you.